Hello, family and friends. This is Rocco Maccarone and my wife Tina.
Hi.
Hi. We're here to go on a journey. The journey of Salvatore and Josephine Maccaroni family from Cotroneii, Italy to Walla, Washington. I've had some of the family ask me, how did our family get to America from Italy? Well, we have some facts about that, and then there's some detective work we have to do to kind of find out what was the process, what was the journey. So that's what we're going to go on this morning.
And also, you said if anybody out there has additional information, just let us know and we can edit that in
later on.
Yeah. So
we'll make this a growing thing. Yeah, try to get all the information the family has at this point. Because, sad to say, a lot of us never asked questions to the old folks about what it was like to come from the old country, where they were from, what was the journey like. Well, we're going to try to, with the help of modern AI technology, we're going to try to go back and see what it was like in 1909 when they left Italy, what it was like in Kenosha, Wisconsin when they left there in 1925 to go to Walla Walla, Washington. But right now, let's introduce the family. Right here is Nanu Salvatore Maccaroni, Nana Josephine, and the 8 siblings, starting with the oldest. I think I have this right. The oldest was Rosie, and then my dad, Antonio, and Sarah, and then the twins. Yes, our family had twins, Uncle Leo and Aunt Chancy. And then came Aunt Jay, Aunt Lena, and Aunt Connie. Okay, let's go on the journey. Now, what I've done, this is the part we don't know about, so we had to do a little detective work. And I want to spend a little time on this because this is the basis of our whole investigation here.
The timeline, kind of putting together the timeline, which the dates of birth helped a lot with that.
That's right.
Trying to figure that
That's
all
right.
out.
And so these are the 5 originals that left Italy and came to America. Nanu Salvatore, who is also known as Sam, just like my brother Sam, and he was born in Calabria in 1868. Josephina, or Nana Josephine, was born in Cotroneii, 1872. And Rosie Cotroneii, 1896. My dad, Tony Cotroneii. Sarah Cotroneii. And my dad, 1898. And Aunt Sarah, 1902. So let's bring the birth dates up here according to 1902.
We did the birth dates. We're doing how old they were now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ages. Yeah.
The ages.
Yeah.
In 1902, because I'm figuring Nanu Salvatore left Italy to come to America around 1902 or 1903. And I will show you why I think that. But in 1902, Nanu was 34, Nana 30, Aunt Rosie was 6, my dad was 4, and Aunt Sarah was 1 year old, 1902. Now, the question was, when were the next siblings born? So let's look at that. The twins, Uncle Leo and Aunt Chancy, were born in Chicago, Chicago, Illinois, 1910. So what that said to me, there's 8 years between 1902 and 1910. And I think that is when Nanu Salvatore went to America.
To save up money to send for them. And so that's hard to imagine, 8 long years to be apart.
Think about that. Think about the sacrifice they went through on both sides of the ocean so we could be in America and be Americans.
Yeah.
Breaks your heart. Breaks your heart. Now, let's see where we're going to go from here. Oh, you see Aunt Sarah's Italian name here? Saveria. It's interesting to note that Aunt Sarah's Italian name, Saveria, the name originates from Italy and has its roots in the Italian language. It's derived from the word Saverio, meaning new house.
Fresh beginnings. Yeah.
Saveria embodies the essence of novelty and fresh beginnings. Could they have named her that because they had decided to move to America? Who knows? In the Bible, that was common. And
you're going to show us a little bit about that, aren't you?
Yes. Now, I'm not going to read every word in this documentary, so take the time to turn the video off and go ahead and read it if you want. I mean, you don't have to, but if you want to get all the information, you can do that. But Saveria meant fresh start. So possibly that's
really what interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And I got this idea from the Bible. Names in the Bible times were given to children to reflect what was happening in the family's life at that time. And so check out this list of Jacob's sons from Revelation chapter 7. And it goes right along with Saveria, meaning, or Saverio, meaning new house, Saveria, fresh beginnings. Mm-hmm. So it's possible. Yeah. It's possible that that's what was happening there. Now,
so then you're back to 1902 when you think...
Yes, Salvatore and Josephine, possibly during that time period, decided to go to America. So Salvatore goes to America and leaves his family in Italy. Now just picture this.
Yeah.
And thousands of Italian men did this very same thing during this time period. Thousands of them came to America to have a better living.
And then we found out he was 34 when he left, and Josephine was 30. So she was there with the 3 siblings, 30 years old, and he left. So what happened then?
So how did she cope?
Yeah, what did she do?
Well, here is a very, very valuable document that Debbie Wilson Creel and her daughter Heidi sent to me, and it gives the ancestors of Josefina Constantino. That was Nana Josephine's maiden name, Constantino. And if you will go through this document, you will see it goes back 4 generations, back to 1796.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so and if you will notice, almost all of these relatives were from Cotroneii. Cotroneii. So she had a big support group there in Cotroneii while Nanu was gone. It wasn't like she had to face this all by herself with 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
She had a support group, which was really important. And later on, you're going to find out that Nanu, on the other end, had a support group with other Italians that had already come and congregated it, like in their...
to start with, it would have been in Chicago.
In Chicago, they had an Italian community there that they helped one another and everything.
And also you found that he had someone that went with him on the boat in 1902. He wasn't by himself, more than likely, as he came over, too.
That's a speculation.
Oh, yeah, we speculate.
Yeah, because we could not find
some of the names. Yeah, some of the names.
We could not find a record for Nanu Salvatore in the things I have studied. So,
but the fact that we did see ship records and you did see that family, it's very likely that he didn't go by himself originally there, that there was...
Could have went with a cousin or brother, maybe even a brother.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of neat to think about, that it maybe wasn't all alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And Debbie, for those that don't know it, Debbie... and Heidi Debbie is the daughter of Lena. So
Lena, yep.
Yeah, and
they went over to Cotroneii.
Saw some of the family. That's very cool.
Family there.
Yeah.
Talk to them about that.
So this this document right here is really cool if you spend the time and look at the names and all of that. It was pretty interesting. So you can pause the video and look at that.
Now, I want you to notice, too, this Elby right here, a relative of Antonio Constantino, was Josephine's grandfather. And her grandfather married an Albee. And when you see the ship record, you're going to see an Albee on there.
Mm-hmm.
So she traveled with relatives coming to America. You know, they had a real support group.
Your Nana, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was a real lesson for us today. We need to support one another and help each other. Yeah. Okay, what else do we have here, sweetie?
Well, it looks like we're getting ready for the family to travel. It looks like Nanu's put the money together. I think. Oh,
here's a point that we wanted to bring out.
Oh, yes, yeah. The fact that when they left, they never saw family again because they didn't come back, and some of the family stayed. That we know of anyway.
Yeah.
And I think there was one other. Well, you're going to bring out a little bit about what your Nana did to support herself.
Yeah, in another slide.
But we didn't want to move forward without mentioning that.
Yeah.
What a sacrifice to leave and know that you aren't going to see your family again. And I think we found that your Nana's father died. Yeah. Shortly after she left. A few years after
1909. It's on this document.
Yeah, you can see the time that. So, you think about, wow, that was quite a decision to leave and never see some of your family again.
Right.
So.
Oh, let's see here. I got to remember to move this so people can read.
You can pause it and then bring it up bigger to see it. Well, yeah.
Anyway, okay. I'll go back through that. So you can stop that and read it over. And,
yeah.
Okay, so in 1909, Nanu Salvatore apparently got the money together to bring his family to America. Let's go on that journey with them. Remember, this is the best I can figure the journey out so far. And with the help of AI, hopefully some of you will have information to add. I know AI is not perfect, and you've got to use critical thinking when you use it. But in some of the things that I've asked it about this journey, it makes sense to me. So you be the judge, and maybe you can come up with some better ideas on the speculations we've done here. So let's go forward here. Cotroneii is the town that they were from. That's how it's pronounced. It was the province of Cotroneii in Calabria, which was the state in southern Italy. And they had olive oil, wine, cereals, citrus, and cattle, and the breeding of cattle there. That was all there was for
their livelihood.
Livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's go to a map here. Okay, here's an overview of Italy, and of course, everybody knows it's shaped like a boot.
Mm-hmm.
And our family was from southern Italy, right down here. And here's a blow-up of Calabria. That's the state of Calabria, right there. And it's made up of 5 provinces or counties, and Cotroneii is the county they were from. And now let's look at a Google Earth view, and that's where Cotroneii was. And these are the Apennines Mountains going up through here. And they were right at the foot of the Apennines. And here it is. Google Earth view. And what can you notice about that picture there?
Got some vineyards and some.
Yeah, it looks like vineyards, orchards, probably olive groves. And that's what Nanu Maccaroni did. Nanu worked for the wealthy landowners as a vine dresser, an orchardist, and a winemaker. And Nana, Josephine, was a cook for them. and she was a good cook. Good cook. A lot of the family learned from her. All the girls learned. My mom learned from her. And then she was also a midwife. She delivered the babies in the family.
And she was an herbalist too. You said that.
Yes,
sure,
she
like
was.
home remedies.
She knew home remedies, and she knew all the herbs that were beneficial to humans and to help with different
and so
things.
This is what she probably continued to do when your Nanu left. Your great Nanu, when he left her, she had a livelihood there, and also then the support of the family where she wasn't just left totally alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So in March of 1909, Salvatore sent Josephine money or tickets for ship passage to America. How would Nana Josephine's trip start? What was it like getting to the ship in Naples, Italy?
Yeah.
Which was north. Well, let's take a look. Here's a road map, a modern one, but it gives you an idea. Naples is up here. Cotroneii is probably right down there somewhere. So in 1909, the distance between Cotroneii and Naples, Italy, was approximately 250 miles. To travel from Cotroneii to Naples in order to board a ship for America, people would have relied on a combination of train and horse-drawn carriage travel, as the transportation infrastructure was still developing.
Oh,
Think about that.
Quite a ways, 250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to know more about that. So I asked ChatGPT, and they gave me these things here. You can go over this. They would have had to take horse-drawn carriage to the closest town, Cotroneii, maybe 20 miles, or Catanzaro, 40 miles. We don't know. And that would have taken 2 to 4 hours. And then the train ride, they would have gone to Cotroneii or Catanzaro to pick up a train.
Yeah.
To get on a train to go to Naples, Italy. And then that would have taken 12 to 16 hours. So you're talking maybe a whole day to get there.
Yeah.
Or longer if there were delays. Who knows? Yeah. And then once they got there, they had to wait for the ship.
It wasn't like you could just get right on the ship. So you got to get maybe a boarding house, they said. There are different ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go through these quickly. In April of 1909, Nano Salvatore was apparently able to get the money together to bring his family to America. And this is the very boat, the very ship. It's not a boat, it's a ship. Yeah. Josephine, Rosie, Tony, and Sarah came to New York on.
Yeah.
The very ship. And they went in steerage, which was the least expensive.
So that was like in the bottom of the ship. That was another thing we looked up. What was it like to be in steerage? You wouldn't have had meals. You wouldn't have had.
Well,
I mean.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I went through all this, and you can read it. What it was like for them to do that. Typically, it took 10 to 14 days for the steamship, like the SS Roma, to complete the journey. And arriving, let's see, after making its final approach past the Statue of Liberty, they came into the port. So just think, take time to to stop the video and read all this. It is very, very interesting.
Yeah, put yourself in their place to realize,
what a sacrifice they went through.
Yeah.
Can you picture our little Nana there with her hanging onto her oregano plant that she brought from Italy?
And her Italian beans. And
Italian pole beans,
And we talked about what in the world did they eat. Maybe there was cheese and
cheese and salami,
hard bread
that they had, twice baked bread.
They're all down in that room, one big room, everybody together. Oh my!
You can just see her cutting that cheese, giving it to Tony and Sarah and Rosie. But you're going to find out she was traveling with family.
Yeah,
it's on the ship record.
Yeah,
yeah. So she had some men there that helped protect that oregano plant. Okay, we got to move along, or else this is going to be a 2-hour video. I hope you got your popcorn and your drinks, your favorite drinks. Okay, more information, conditions, food, medical checks, and inspection.
Yeah, we won't read all of that, but it's really, really, it puts you back, it takes you back in time to right then what it might have been like, and, pretty
how much it cost.
Yeah, it's...
in 1909.
Yeah, see, Salvatore had to have that money.
Yeah.
Not only for the ship passage, but also for the transportation,
maybe staying in a boarding house.
Yeah, so how much did he have to send, I wonder? That's 8 years possibly that he might have had to get that all together. So, oh man, it's really...
What a sacrifice they made so we could be in America.
So you can read all of these.
The United States of America. My dad always said, we're in America, we're going to be Americans now. They didn't teach us Italian. They wanted to be Americans. That's how much. It was hard in southern Italy during this time. Very hard. And let's not forget, it was right a few years before World War I, which was really made it extremely hard in Italy during that time. And then as they go to Kenosha, or Chicago and then Kenosha, you'll see that they left there right before the Depression of 1929. God, it was like God had his hands
over the timing of it all.
Over our family and protecting them and bringing them to that safe little farm in Walla Walla, Washington. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move right along here. Okay, now we're going to go into the ship record. And this is part of the ship record, and it's digitalized. And just to show you kind of how it's made up, they had an ID number, a frame number, a line number, how they came in line and all that, the ship name, the date the ship arrived. We know the date they arrived, April 11, 1909. We'll see that again. The port of departure, Naples, Italy. And here's another digital record. And I want to explain on this that on the original copy, there's a lot of misspelling. The line numbers next to the name and everything is important. We're going to go to the original, but first, it's hard to read because it's all longhand. But you can see Cotroneii is misspelled here. Italian South, they put. Here is one of the relatives, Altanaro, Santo Altanaro.
And Maccaroni is spelled with an I.
Yeah. It was spelled with an I for a long time. My dad signed it on several documents with an I. Where it got changed, I don't know. I wish they would have left it with an I. People could pronounce it better, you know. And Josepina's name is spelled like Giuseppe, which is male, Joseph, and they've misspelled Saveria, and you'll see why when you see the original, because the S looks like an L. And this is all out of order. I got this online, but I just wanted you to see the digital part of that. Let's go on. Okay, here is the original manifest, and it's for salon, cabin, and steerage aliens must be completely manifested. Okay, what does that mean? We're going to find out what that means. Also, we're going to find out what a non-immigrant alien means. And
the reading and writing column.
Oh, yeah.
There's something real interesting about that.
Yeah, able to read and write. Well, read and write what? Italian? English? What is it? Next to Nana's, it says, no, cannot read, cannot write. What does that mean? She couldn't read or write even Italian or English. Well, we know she couldn't read or write English. But let's go on here. But I'll move this so you can stop this and look at it with us not on it, and stop the video and just really go over this and look at it. There's so many interesting things here, and it'll take you a while to figure it out, but if you take some time and look at it, you will just be energized with the information that's there. But here is the SS Roma, April.
That was from Naples.
Sailing from Naples.
In March the 27th. In 1909, and then it arrived, we already saw, in
April 11.
Yeah. So
we know exactly how long it took for them to go. See what I mean? There's just so much information on here. That's really exciting. And down here,
the Albee name you were talking about.
Here's the Albee name, father and son. See that? They came together, father and son. And this Alternaros is a relative of the Albees also.
And look by their names, non-immigrant and alien. What is that mean?
All of them are non-immigrant. Now let's go to the next slide. So this explains it. This explains it all. And we should, you know what? We should read this because it's contemporary for what's going on in our world right now. Comparing immigrants now to immigrants back in the day when they started to first flood America. This is how they were manifested. In 1909, when immigrants arrived at Ellis Island, the term manifested referred to the process of documenting and recording the details of each person arriving. This was done on a ship's manifest, a legal document listing all passengers aboard a ship entering the United States.
Being manifested meant that the immigrant's name, age, nationality, occupation, other relevant personal information were recorded by immigration officials. The purpose was to keep track of all the people entering the U.S. and ensure that they met legal requirements, including health screening and financial stability. These records became crucial for immigration authorities to determine whether an individual could enter the country or be sent back due to health issues, criminal background, or other reasons. The manifest also provided a historical record of who entered the U.S. at that time.
So, in simple terms, it meant that the immigrants' entry was officially documented and registered in the U.S. immigration system.
How different now. People crossing over the border and just
amazing.
Nothing. Oh, man.
Amazing.
And they could be sent back. If some of them were sent back if they didn't go through the health check.
Yeah,
think of going through what they did to get there. Get to Ellis Island and be told, oh, no, you got to go back.
From what I've read, that was the most fearful part of coming to America, was getting to Ellis Island and wondering if you were going to be able to be physically fit enough to come in. We'll see more about that.
And you could have been fine when you got on that ship, but when you're isolated to that little spot and no ventilation and everybody crowded in, maybe you were sick by the time you got there, you know?
That's right.
Just because of the conditions. So,
yeah.
Oh, man, that would be...
Okay, let's go on here. Back to the...
manifest.
The manifest here. Yeah, just like I said, go over this. This has interesting information on it. These brackets here are showing our family all
of them together, and where they were going, who was picking them up.
Well,
that's the next one.
That's the next one.
Okay,
we were talking about reading and writing. What did that mean? And here it is. Refer to whether they could read or write in any language, not specifically English. So our Nana Josephine could not read and write.
Your brother Sam told you that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said our Nana could not read or write, but she knew her math. If she went to buy something and she gave them a $20 bill, she knew how much change she would to get back. They could not cheat her out of her money. She was really sharp, he said. But she made it. She made it in America. And then non-immigrant alien stamp simply meant that they were not going to stay permanently in the United States. Those three Albies
they went to Toronto, Canada.
That were cousins of ours. They went to Toronto, Canada, where Dominic Albie's brother was. So he went to be with his brother. And those his son and a cousin of theirs went with them. But take time to read these things. They're good. Yeah. Okay, and now the ship record had two great big sheets on it. I can't talk without my hands here. So let's move this. I don't think that'll be in anybody's way there. But they were big. And you'll see a picture of them here as we go on. But on this information, it says, who's going to meet you? And where are you going to live? It tells it right here. We're going to look at a close-up of this. But it says where they were going, that her husband, Jessepina's husband, Salvatore Maccaroni, was going to meet him.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then same down here with the Albies, our relatives. He's going to Niccolo Albies, Toronto, Canada. That's where they were going, to Toronto. Okay, yeah. So go over these things. They're very interesting. Let's see, we forget anything? All right, next. Let's look at the process of immigration manifestation. Okay?
Ellis Island, here we come.
Yes.
They have come by the Statue of Liberty and are getting off the ship. And this is typically what. And by the way, you and I were there.
2000.
It was in 2010.
2010. We were there.
We were there. We took the ferry over. We walked. And it was really cool. They told us that they kept the original steps. So it was emotional, actually.
The whole thing was just the way my dad would have went through it.
Yeah, to think that the family walked through there, those very steps and everything was kind of emotional for both of us when we went. That was
So we took a ferry from Manhattan to Ellis Island, and that's exactly what they would have done. And this, we're going to go clockwise here on the pictures, and this first one is a ferry from Manhattan off the ship onto Ellis Island. And then this stairway was awesome. I mean, it was so awesome. And to think that my dad's little feet at 11 years old walked up these steps. It just, I got all teared up thinking about this.
Yeah.
And him going through this medical examination.
See, they're looking at the eyes. There was a thing about the eyes.
There was something, I don't know if it was what it was, that it was a certain disease at that time. Can't remember what it was, that they were watching real careful. And I guess it was kind of painful. But you can see these officers, they're examining.
And if they didn't pass, they had to go back.
Yes. And this was very fearful. You can see the anxiety on their faces back here. Usually they see a camera, they smile, but these people are agonizing and praying to God that they'll be able to get through the examination.
Yeah.
Here's a little Italian guy going through the examination, And then down here is the hall, and they work their way in line, waiting and waiting to get to the front of the line. And you can see down here, that's where the manifestation registrar was. And we're going to show another picture over here.
And see how those pages are all spread out?
Yeah, see how big they are?
I mean, a lot of columns.
But that's what we're reading, are these manifestations here. And the people going through. And here's our little family that came through at the time, 1909. Nana, Aunt Sarah, Aunt Rosie, and Antonio. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, now we're going to look at an overview from up the top. Up here is the registration desks that everybody's working towards. And then right back here behind was a set of steps going down
to the kissing post.
The kissing post.
That's where the families met. Think about 8 years of separation, how much that would have been. Although some of them said they didn't kiss in public.
Well, yeah,
some nationalities, Anyway, but that was interesting too.
Yeah, this is...
we kissed at the kissing post.
We did. But that's where Nana and the children would have met Nanu.
Yeah.
He was waiting there outside those doors for them to get manifested and hopefully would pass and come through.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see, you can read this. It's a plaque, a brass plaque that they put there. And we never took a picture of it, but I found it on the internet. The Italian kisses his little children, but scarcely speaks to his wife never embraces or kisses her in public. Whereas the Hungarian and Slavish people put their arms around one another and weep.
And the Jews of all countries kisses his wife and children as though he had all the kisses in the world, intended to use them all up quickly.
Yeah, read this. This is really good. Okay, yeah, let's see. What do we got next? Oh, yeah. Let's, we're going to figure out now how they get from Ellis Island to Manhattan to get the train. But first of all, on the manifest.
Not to Manhattan, how they get to Chicago.
Well, Manhattan to get a train to Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Because the ferry takes them back over to Manhattan, and then they have to get, okay.
So I did a close-up here. The questions ask, where are you going?
Or they're going to join a relative or friend, and if so, what relative or friend, and his name and complete address.
Look at this.
Yeah.
We've got an address of where they lived.
Grand Crossing.
But you can help me out here. It looks like 772.
I don't know.
7 or 3. Not sure, and we cannot figure out this avenue name.
It looks like Wood on the end, maybe W-O-O-D, but we can make out Grand Crossing, Illinois.
Grand Crossing, Illinois. Mm-hmm. It was a suburb of Chicago, and I'm going to show you it on Google Earth. Yeah. But again, here's the Albies, his cousin Nick, Albie. He's going there to Toronto, Canada. And the same with these boys. His brother, Nick, Toronto, Canada. 265, and gives the address. Here's the ages. My dad was 11. They had put 60 for Nana, but they crossed it out.
This was only 30.
Yeah. This boy was 20. Dominic here was 31, and it doesn't have his son's age, but anyway, they all traveled together. Okay, where are we going now?
Well, we're going to see how they got there.
How did they get from Ellis Island to Chicago? Okay, here it is. We asked AI again, and I think it was pretty good. Of course, they had to take the ferry back and then take a train to Chicago. Once in Chicago, your dad and his family would have likely settled in one of the city's immigrant neighborhoods.
Such as Little Italy. Because they had communities where they could stay together.
Yes.
So they'd be familiar and culturally,
or in areas with a strong Italian community. These neighborhoods provided a support network and cultural familiarity
and jobs
for new arrivals. And jobs, yes. What were some of those communities? Well, you know what? We have a document showing us what it was. But first, let's look at this document. This is courtesy of Debbie, Wilson Creel, and Heidi, and that's their mom and grandma's birth certificate.
Lena.
Aunt Lena. Yeah, Aunt Lena. All right, as we look at this document here of Aunt Lena's birth certificate, Let's go right to the address. They have, they got her birth date here, 1913, and then there's an address. It looks like 529 Taylor Street, Chicago. And
so they started out in Grand Crossing, and then so at some point they moved to Taylor Street.
Yeah, and we're going to look at that in just a minute. We'll look at a Google Earth look at that, but let's look at this document right here. The near west side, Taylor Street. And you know it's got to be the one and the same. The heart of Chicago's Italian community was centered around Taylor Street, just west of the Chicago River and south of the Loop. All right. This was the largest and most prominent Italian neighborhood in Chicago during the late 1800s and early 1900s. Many Italian immigrants, especially those from southern Italy, including Calabria,
there you have it.
Sicily, and Campania, settled here.
All right.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want to read the rest? The landmarks were Our Lady of Pompeii Church, a focal point for the Italian Catholic community. Hull House was a settlement house founded by Jane Addams that provided social services to immigrants, including Italians.
Decline. Now, they put this in here to show what happened to the neighborhood in future years. And so it says the neighborhood declined in the mid-20th century due to urban renewal projects and the construction of the University of Illinois in Chicago. So there you have it. It's very interesting what you can piece together with different documents. Anyway, pause the video and look over this document. It's kind of hard to read because it's a photocopy.
It's a dark background.
Yeah, but you can still read it if you look close. And it's very good. Like Giuseppina, Nana Josephine, right here, was 32 years old when Aunt Lena was born. What does that say right there? That's Salvatore. And he was 40.
Yeah, it looks like
he was 8 years older. Yeah, and he was a laborer. Now, isn't that interesting? Very interesting. Okay, yeah, like I said, look them over.
Now we're going to go on to the ages then in 1915.
No, first we're going to go to Google Map.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's go to Google Map first.
Okay.
Yeah, see, you can bring up Google Map and you can find Grand Crossing. There it is, still on the map. And what this was, it was a section from like 76th Street to 59th Street or something like that. But all along the water here is Chicago, and this is a suburb, Grand Crossing, and that's where they first lived. Or at least that's the address
that they said they were going to on the manifest.
On the manifest, yeah. But then Taylor Street is up here.
And that's where Lena was born. So at some point they moved up there.
Yeah. And these two blue markers, one represents Taylor Street and the other one represents the University of Illinois. So you can see the house they lived in, 529 Taylor Street, was wiped out by the university in later years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now what we're going to do, this was 1909 when they first moved to Chicago. And the whole family is there now.
Yeah.
The sacrifice of being apart is over with. Possibly 8 years from what we can figure. What a sacrifice they went through for us, that we could enjoy the freedoms in the United States of America. So what we're going to look at now, and the only way to transition to Kenosha, because I still don't have a date when they moved to Kenosha. So let's, like Tina was saying earlier, let's go to this document I put together on the family ages in 1915. And the reason I chose 1915 was because that's when Aunt Connie was born. Aunt Connie was born in 1915. Okay, so...
and you don't know if she was born at Taylor Street either before they left to go to Kenosha, because we don't have a birth certificate for her.
Well, we're just assuming because Aunt Lena was born there in 1913.
And 2 years later, maybe they were still at Taylor Street, and then from there they moved to...
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can only speculate on.
Yeah.
But our imaginations can kind of sympathize with them, you know.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Okay.
So do you have their ages at that time?
Yes.
You've got the years they were born and
okay. Let's I titled this slide, Salvatore and Josephine continued to have more children once they were settled in Chicago. Here is everyone's ages in 1915.
There you go, yeah. So
Nanu was 47, Nana 43, Aunt Rosie 19, my dad was 17, Sarah 13, Leo and Chansey were 5, Jay was 4, Lena was 2, and Connie was an infant. So we don't know why they moved to Kenosha, Wisconsin. So, I don't know. Might have been work. My dad and Nanu were working at the Nash Motor Company. Maybe a lot of Italians figured that out and
said,
they,
come on up here. And,
they migrated up there. So, what we're going to do next is transition to Kenosha. And I've got a couple pictures here to start with. And one is the only picture I have of Cotroneii. And this was not it wasn't an ancient picture, but this was my sister Josephine's mother-in-law. I think her first name was Ione Baker. Her last name was Baker. And they traveled to Cotroneii to visit where the family came from. And this was, we're not sure if it's Uncle Bruno or Cousin Bruno. If it was Uncle Bruno, it would have been Nanu Salvatore's brother. But this had to be probably in the late 50s or early 50s. I don't know if that's another one of the things we don't know for sure. So, but anyway, I thought I'd put this up there. And it seems like there's a lot of Italian pictures of the father with the oldest daughter. And I thought maybe this was a single daughter, but I noticed there's a ring on her left finger. Yeah. I had never noticed that before.
Okay.
So maybe it's his wife, not his daughter. We don't know. But this is fun anyway. But anyway, here's Nanu Salvatore with Aunt Rosie. And this is, we know, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. And there's Nanu with his hoe, probably getting ready to put a garden in. We don't know how long they were in Kenosha, you know. They had to move there after 1915 sometime, and then they moved to Walla Walla in 1925. So there was a 10-year period. Maybe they were there 8 years, 5 years in Kenosha. We don't know. But everywhere they went, they planted a garden, I'm sure, and kept that oregano going so they could bring it to Walla Walla, you know, and the pole beans.
Yeah.
But I want you to notice the backyard. I'm just almost sure this is the backyard of their house because we have a picture of the front yard. But notice the gables on the roof, and there up in this corner there's another gable, and I'll show you in another picture here of the house from the front. Okay, here we have it.
And this is when we went to visit there.
This is when we went to visit, yes.
And they still call it the Maccaroni.
The old timers
still
called it the Maccaroni house. And how we knew this was the Maccaroni house was that my cousin Mary Montemoro Peterson, Aunt Sarah's daughter, was still alive, and her and our cousin John Montemoro took us there. Mm-hmm. We were in the house, and they said, "Do you want to go see the Maccaroni house?" I'm going, "What? You still know where the Maccaroni house?" "Oh, yeah, it's on Old Pearl Street." And so that's what they did. They brought us there. Now, this is probably what my dad looked like in the Kenosha years. And so in 2004, we visited this spot. Mm-hmm. And, it just, you don't know the feelings I had. When I saw this house, I always heard the folks talking about Kenosha and the different things about that. And then here it was. Now, okay, let's see. All right, now, the reason I said this photo was the backyard, because here's the house next door, and you can see there's a gable here, and that side gable and everything. So that is the house.
Mm-hmm.
The Maccaronis lived there. And there was, 11 of them. And while they were there, my dad and mom got married in 1923. They got married, were living in this house. Everybody was living there.
And so your sister Josie was born.
Josie was born there. And Sam
was born there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Josie was probably born in April of 24, and Sam was born in March of 25.
And they worked at the Nash Motor Company, right down the road. They could walk.
Okay, yes. Now, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
You can see the road in front of the house. If you're standing there facing the house and look to the left, you could see the Nash Motor Company.
Yeah, it wasn't even really a block, was it, to get to it?
And we took this picture of this plaque down there by where the Nash Motor Company was. They had this sign there telling the history of...
and you can take the time to read that.
Yeah.
We won't take the time to read
the Nash Motor Company there.
Yeah.
Take the time to read it, and let's see. I have something else there. Well, the next thing
is traveling to
Walla Walla, Washington.
So why was it that they decided to leave and go to Walla Walla?
Very good question.
Yeah.
Very good question. The only thing I can think of is Nanu Salvatore loved the soil. His heart, I can imagine when he was in Italy working for the wealthy landowners, in his heart, he wanted his own farm.
Mm-hmm.
I just picture that. And my mom told me that I was a lot like him because he loved the outdoors. He loved to be outside. Do you realize how much of a torture it might have been for Nanu Salvatore to work in a factory when he longed to have his hands in the soil?
Yeah.
Well, he had a good friend. I think he grew up with him in Italy. His name was Royal Spanish. And many of you know the Spanish family. The two brothers owned the Standard gas station on 9th and Main for many, many, many years. And then Mike Spanish started another gas station up on the east end of Walla Walla. And anyway, this is the family, Royal Spanish. And many of you know Roy Spanish if you went to DeSales, one of our local sports heroes, and a good man, good guy. So
he
wrote letters to Nanu and said, Salvatore, come on. There's farms here for sale. Come and buy a farm for your family so they can be on the land. And so once again, Nanu left his family left my dad
to be in charge.
Well, he left my dad working at the Nash Motor Company. And when he got that letter saying, hey, come on, there's lots of farms for sale here. There's even one with a 2-story house, big enough for your whole family.
And maybe at the same time that invitation came, you can tell them what happened. That was another reason that they were wanting to leave.
The mafia was present there. And my speculation is they were trying to get into the Nash Motor Company like they had gotten into the Ford Motor Company. I had watched a documentary on that, how they had infiltrated the Ford Motor Company. Mm-hmm. My mother had a cousin. His mafia name was Diamond Jim. And he kept visiting the family, getting close to my dad and my nanu. And my family did not feel comfortable around the mafia. And they had a scare. My dad and my nanu were in a bar having a drink. And the person sitting next to my nanu was assassinated by the mafia. Right there next to him. And then there was another assassination that they witnessed on their street.
So they were ready to get out of there.
They were ready to get out of there and move. And there was getting to be a pretty good Italian community in Walla Walla. And so they took Royal up on that. And so Nanu got on a train again, a train this time, and went to Walla Walla. So we don't know how long it was.
Well, kind of 1915 to 1925 when they went.
Well, yeah, we don't know when Nanu went out there, how long he was gone.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But he, once he got there, he bought the farm on the old Milton Highway on Route 1. That beautiful farm.
And we know that was 1925 when they left by train to go out.
Yes. Yeah, we know that for sure. Yeah.
So who all went now and everything? How did that?
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Okay. But don't forget now, I think I mentioned this already, but when they left in 1925, that was 4 years before the Great Depression. Mm-hmm. It's like God had his hand over this family and moved them to a safe place during that awful time.
Because they don't remember that it was so terrible because they had food.
They had lots of food. They were able to sell their produce. The government was buying anything that could be produced, trying to feed the people.
So that was a blessing then.
It was such a blessing. And the folks said that. It was such a blessing to be on that farm during the Depression. Because some of the big cities, if they had been in Chicago during that time, it would have been terrible. Terrible. It's like God's holy angels were over them, just taking care of them. So we must be very, very grateful for the sacrifices and the leading of God that we have the privilege of being citizens of the United States of America. Yeah. Okay, now one other thing before we get on the train with the family is that at this time, Aunt Sarah and Aunt Rosie got married. Aunt Rosie married into the Esposito family, and Aunt Sarah into the Montemoro family. So they did not go on the trip. Yes, I have one other document here, and let's see. Take time to pause the video and look over this. This is my dad's naturalization paper, and he became a citizen of the United States on February 16th, 1925, right before they left to go to Washington. We don't know what time of year it was when they went to Washington.
You see the address is Pearl, where they lived in the house there.
And on this document is they had Josephine Francis. She was aged 10 months at that time. Mm-hmm. If you go back 10 months, that was around April she was born. Mm-hmm. I can't remember when my sister's birthday was, but according to that, it would have been around April. And then Sam was born 1 month later in March 15th.
So he was an infant. He was an infant when they made the trip.
Picture that now as they get on the train.
They were close in age.
They've got an infant in arms and a toddler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 2 infants. If she was 10 months, I don't know when you stop calling a child infant, but she would have been maybe a year old if it was 2 more months before they left. Yeah. She might have been, like a year old.
She could have been starting to walk, you know. But anyway, yeah. But it was your mom and dad together. It wasn't like, you know, your Nana, Josephine coming with the kids and her husband wasn't with her to help. Yeah. You know, so it was a little different.
There. Yeah. Uncle Leo was there.
I want to see the spelling. It's got an I on there.
Yeah.
He spelled
it. See how he signed this document with an I. When did we change it to an E? If anybody knows that, let me know. I would love to know that. I wish it was still with an I, officially with an I.
Well, remember later on, your brother Sam went by Maccarone.
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah,
because he was a salesman, and that always confused people when he said Sam Maccaroni.
So
they had to talk about that for about 15 minutes. You know, he wanted to get right to the sale, close the deal. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun to me. When we met and married, you said, now when they ask you what your last name is, don't say Maccaroni. Say it is spelled Maccarone.
Yeah.
And then if they want to know, because invariably through the years we've been married, 25 years, it's been fun to... Maccaroni for real? Oh, you know, and everything. It's been a lot of fun.
And you got to say, well, it's spelled a little different, but it used to have an I. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, but it was fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Now on to the trip, huh?
Let's get on the train.
Yeah.
Let's get on the train. Okay.
So you asked ChatGPT again about what it would have been like.
How would a family get from Kenosha, Wisconsin to Walla Walla, Washington in 1925 by train? Okay. We're not going to read all this. Because
take the time. It just shows the different hubs and where they may have made connections on the different lines and everything.
Yeah, but you can just picture them doing this, you know?
Yeah.
Here's another.
And that's another route.
The route, the leg 1, leg 2, leg 3, leg 4, from St. Paul, Minnesota to Spokane, Washington.
Yeah.
So those family members that live in Spokane, your ancestors came through there on a train in 1925.
Yeah. Yes.
And then they took a leg down to Walla Walla.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Accommodations and options. So you can go through it with them.
Yeah.
Again, I bet they had their hard cheese and their dried bread, or maybe a couple loaves of fresh bread to start with, and salamis or whatever else, dried meats. Yeah, go through this.
And then it
the cost of it, the duration. Trip could take 3 to 5 days, depending on the connections and the speeds of the trains. So go over it. All right, now let's see here.
This is how old they were when they got there, huh?
The family's ages in 1925, when the family left Kenosha, Wisconsin, and arrived in Walla Walla, Washington. Okay. Aunt Rosie, of course, she stayed in Kenosha, but at that time, 1925, she would have been about 30 years old. She stayed, started her family, and started building the Esposito branch of the Maccaroni tree. Wow, this is so exciting.
Yeah.
And then Tony and Lena Maccaroni, and plus they came with Josie and Sam from Kenosha, 1-year-old and infant Sam. And
your dad was 27 and your mom was 19.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so there was the Tony Maccaroni branch of the family tree. And Sarah, she stayed in Kenosha and began the Montemuro branch of the Maccaroni tree. Wow. And then Uncle Leo and Chansey, they were 15 years old when they moved out west. And they started a branch, the Maccaroni and Prado branch of this family tree. And then, let's get out of the way here.
Then you have Jay.
And Jay, and she was 14 years old. And she started the Forelli branch of the Maccaroni tree. Aunt Lena, she was 12 years old, not even a teenager yet. And she started the Kershaw-Wilson branch. And Aunt Connie, and she started the Guerrera branch of the Maccaroni tree. Oh my, folks. This family has really grown by the blessing of God and the liberties of the United States of America. Some did very, very well. The Lord really blessed them. Okay, 2 other members, Salvatore and Josephine. Salvatore was 57 years old at this time.
When he got his farm, finally, huh?
When he got his farm in 1925. Yeah. But he only lived 5 more years on that farm.
Yeah, but he was able to see it flourish and have all the family there.
See his family there. And be in a safe place.
Yeah.
On that beautiful farm. Yeah. And then Josephine was 53, and she lived 9 more years. She died in 1934, and Nanu died in 1930.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see.
What did the house look like there?
Well, we're going to
see what
get that.
Mm-hmm.
We have another photo here. Of the family, and we don't know exactly what the date was, somewhere between 1925 and maybe 1930. I'm not sure. But just looking at the age of the siblings here, I'm guessing, But I picked 1927 as a date.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere between 1925, 1930. But the kids still look like it was soon after they moved from Kenosha, according to that one picture of the whole family being there. But anyway, let's
pick out the ones you can tell for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I know this is Aunt Chancy Maccaroni Prado. Possibly this is Uncle Leo. If anybody knows for sure, let me know. And they would have been 17 years old in 1927. And then I know for sure that's my dad. Mm-hmm. He loved to farm too. And that's my mom for sure. I'm not sure if he's holding onion plants or what he's holding there. But anyway. And then we've got the mystery girls. Nobody seems to know who these girls are. But you still have Aunt Lena and Aunt Jay. And this one girl, there's one girl of the three that we wouldn't know who it was. But there were only 4 of the girls that came because Aunt Rosie stayed in Kenosha, and so did Aunt Sarah. Mm-hmm. Savaria, New Beginning, stayed in Kenosha. Mm-hmm. But Aunt Jay would have been 16, Aunt Lena 14, and Connie here, Connie Maccaroni Guerrera, would have been 12. And that kind of looks like a 12-year-old, don't you think?
So that's as best as you can tell.
Yeah, so if anybody knows who these girls are, let me know. Now, the 2 people on the ends, I know for sure this is Idine DeStito. That was my godmother, and I think this is her husband, John DeStito Sr. And it looks like he's smoking a pipe there, and it seems like Kumbadi John smoked a pipe. Anyway, these were wonderful people. Very close friends with my mom and dad. Anytime you ask somebody to be the godparent of your child, you know you're close to those people. And we were all, they lived on the farm just west of us. Just west of the Maccaroni farm was the DeStito farm. Mm. And they were from southern Italy also. Yeah, we did a lot of things together. Mushroom hunting, holidays. In fact, I remember once my godparents came to a Christmas Eve holiday get together with us. And when Kumbadi John came in the house, he had this concertina. It wasn't wrapped as a gift or nothing. And there it was. He goes, Rocky. That's the way he talked. That's the way he said my name, Rocky. I found this concertina out in the lawn or out in the yard. I found it out in the yard because there was snow on the ground. Out in the yard, I think Santa dropped it. Oh, I go, what? Santa. I go, oh, thank you. Took it. But then, when nobody was looking, I went and got my coat on, went outside, and looked all around the house, seeing if Santa Claus had dropped any other presents. Oh, that was good times, good memories. Mm. What else are we doing here?
Well, we got the 2-story house that was there when it.
Yes, we do have a picture of the back of that. There it is. The back side of the 2-story farmhouse where the 11 members of the Salvatore and Josephine Maccaroni family lived. And the house burned down in 1950. A lot of our photos and records and things like that were...
Because you were 2 years old. You were born in 1948. And
yeah,
so the house burned down when you were 2.
And we lived up the house where my brother Sam had just built a house up there. And we lived with him until we could get another house. And I can remember telling my dad, I want to go home. Mm-hmm. And my mom said, Tony, take him down the house and show him that the house has burned down. And I can remember my dad taking me down there.
You can?
2 years old. Oh, I do. I remember that.
Okay.
I remember them talking to me about it.
That must have been quite a shock for you to see that it was gone.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in this picture, I wonder if this apricot tree, there was always an apricot tree in that spot when I was growing up. So I'm wondering if my dad hadn't planted another one, because that looks like an apricot or a fruit tree right there. Looks like some grapevines, zucchini, and that looks like artichokes. Yep. And maybe this is a field of spinach, which they planted with a hand seeder and harvested with spinach forks. The old spinach fork. I remember those. They were hanging in the shed all the time I was growing up, but I never had to use one. It was a fork with a basket on it, and the cutters were like that. So when you went down the row, it cut the spinach and laid it over in the basket, and then you threw it up in the back of a truck. And then they took it to Birdseye. Yep. Okay. The farm also had a big barn. Oh, we had a lot of fun in that barn. We had so much fun in that barn. Yeah. It was usually all winter stacked with hay. And that was the most fun part, playing on the hay. But, oh, man, I got the cabbage stick. I got a paddling for playing on the hay. My dad would say, how would you like for the cows to come and walk on your food? Well, that's what you're doing when you play on the hay. You're walking on the cow's food. Today, if I had a kid, I'd let him play on the hay. They were bales
bales of hay. How was that going to hurt the cow's food? Anyway, I could remember feeling so guilty about that when I turned 8 years old and had the sacrament of confession. That was one of the first sins that I confessed. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. This is my first confession. What have you done, my son? I played on the hay when I wasn't supposed to. Oh my, okay. Say 5 Hail Marys and 2 Our Fathers. Oh, okay. Man, I might play on the hay some more. That wasn't so bad at all. No, I didn't say that. I was very serious about that kind of stuff. Very serious. Yeah, we took it very seriously. We wanted to obey our parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, let's see here. We're getting to the end here.
You've got something about...
Oh, yeah, the fire. Somebody took pictures. I think one of the firemen took these pictures. But the old 2-story farmhouse that the family had lived in for 25 years burnt down in the fall of 1950. And these potatoes had been stored in this shed here. And the firemen, when they came, the fire hadn't gotten to this shed yet, and they pulled all the potatoes out. And that was our food. It was our food for the winter. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's see here. Okay, this is a summary of what we may have figured out about Nonno Salvatore and Nonna Josephine's journey from Cotroneii, Italy to Walla Walla, Washington. Facts and speculations. If you read over this list, pause the video, read it. If you see that there's some facts that aren't facts, let me know. If there's speculations that are facts, then okay, tell me. And we'll keep working on this, and hopefully we can put it together with more facts than just guessing and asking AI, to help us out. And these are some old photos I had, and I was going to ask if you folks have photos that you want to share that would be let's just share the ones between the time period of 1909 and 1950. It would be wonderful if we had some photos back as far as 1909. I think maybe this is one of the oldest, and I believe this was taken in Kenosha just before the family moved. Because a lot...
the age, it looks like the ages match.
That one picture on the farm. Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are some of these other ones you have?
Okay, over here clockwise. This is on the farm. When they first moved to the farm, they used horses. And my brother Sam and my brother Tony here, and my dad in the middle. And these horses' names were Johnny and Baldy. And I can't tell you which one's which. And then the 2 brothers, Tony and Leo, together. This was at our house on the farm. The the new house that they moved there. And of course, the family. And then here's the precious aunts and uncles. Oh, we all love these aunts and uncles and love to see them come and have a family get together. Oh, we always called the aunts the kissing aunts because when they came, they just smothered you in kisses. Oh, and they wore this bright lipstick, and it was all over you and everything. But we loved it. We just loved it. And they gave us dollar bills, they gave us dollar bills. But
who's the other ones here?
You have, let's go this way, Aunt Jay, Aunt Rosie, Uncle Leo, Aunt Chancy, that's the twins, Uncle Tony, or my dad, Aunt Connie, and then here's Aunt Sarah, or Aunt Jay again, Aunt Sarah, Aunt Rosie, Aunt Chancy, and Aunt Lena. So, and I put both of them because they're not all there in each picture. And here's the twins, Leo and Chancy. I don't know what the occasion was, but they sure look nice there, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's conclude here our video. We've gone on over an hour. I hope you had your favorite drinks and popcorn for this one. It's almost a full-length movie here. I want all the family to know that this is a work in progress, and I am open to any new family history information that you may think needs to be added to this documentary of the family's journey. And here's my information. My email, ram799@yahoo.com. My YouTube channel is ram799, and that's where I'm going to put this. But I'll send some of you a link to where you can just open it. But it will be on my YouTube channel. That's the easiest way to share a long video. And on Facebook, just look up Rocco Maccarone. And if you want my phone number, I'm not going to put it on here because it's going to go out to the world, but personal message me for my phone number. And I had to put Antonio and his oldest daughter here on the last slide.
And one other thing to mention is this is the house that replaced the two-story one that burned down, and that's your bedroom window right there.
Oh, yeah. That was my bedroom right there. Me and Tony's before he got married.
Yeah, before he got married.
Me and my brother Tony were in that room.
You couldn't understand why he was leaving and getting married. That was like...
What's the deal? You could still sleep with me,
Yeah.
And the old 37 Chevy truck.
One picture
That's what I learned to drive in right there.
One picture you didn't include is that really cool aerial picture of the farm that you have on your Facebook page that shows the winding drive down and the farm.
Well, we just didn't want to make this too long.
Yeah. But if anyone has other pictures, you can add it.
Send them to me, and we will add to this. I'll update it, and then send you a new link with the updates. Yeah, this has been fun.
It has been really fun. He spent hours and hours.
Thank you for helping me.
Oh, it was.
I swear this girl has Italian blood in her.
I'll take it.
Oh, she has saved my life. She has saved my life. We've been married for 25 years now. We got married in 2000, and we met on the internet. Old fogies met on the internet on a Christian singles site. Can you believe that? It's been good.
It has been. Yeah. We are blessed for sure.
Yeah. Okay, we love you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one other thing I wanted to say. We love and miss you terribly.
Yeah.
We love every one of you relatives and friends that watch us. We love you deeply. And we wish we could be closer and with you more often.
Yeah.
Take care. God bless you all.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.